So on today's Academy lesson, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of an interesting force that I call the pull down force. Now, this is something that I initially saw done really crappy when I was a teenager in middle school. Somebody showed me this force, a variation of this force rather, and this is my attempt to actually make it something passable and something workable. Now, the original way the force was done, in the original way I saw the person do it was something like this. He would say, hey, I'm going to go through the cards like this, call stop anytime you want. Right there, perfect. We'll just look at your card. Don't forget your card. And of course, that was the force card. Or he would do something like this and say, look at your card in this weird, awkward angle. So I pretty much wanted to have the same sort of idea of scrolling through the cards like this, but having the spectator call stop and having a more effective and fair force. So here is my solution to that little bit of a problem. Sir, I'm going to go through the cards like this. I just want you to call stop anytime you want on whichever card you feel right. Right there sounds like a great spot. I'll tell you what, you could have stopped on any one of these cards, any one. These were all free choices, but you decided to stop right over here. Take a look at your card. Don't forget it, the 7 of spades. And of course, that card is forced. And I'm going to show you guys not only how to force the card, but how to also subsequently control the card. So here is the actual mechanics. Now, there's a little bit of a setup for this, and you do end dirty, but I'll show you how to actually exploit this card for a variation of the oops control and how to use that to effectively control the card as well. So first things first, we're going to grab the second card from the top of the deck and turn that face up. That's going to be the force card. So the Jack of Clubs is going to be the force card in this particular case. The next thing we need to do is get a break underneath that Jack of Clubs in whatever way we want. So here, that is the first step. We're going to get a pinky break below the second card from the top of the deck. Now, in order to initiate the force, it's going to be very, very simple. All we're going to do is pull this 2 cards as one back. And now that these 2 cards are back, we're going to put pressure with our pinky and the little fatty portion of the lower part and the base of the thumb so that that card remains square. At the same time, we're going to use our middle finger of the right hand to pull down cards from the top of the deck to this lower position. If you want, you could play around the distance here and have a little bit more of a selection here, but you're just going to go through the cards in this way and have the spectator call stop wherever it is they want. Now, wherever it is they call stop, we're going to take this packet. So we're going to pinch this packet at the lower right corner and turn it face up. That's all we're going to do. In doing that, we have pretty much done all the necessary accommodations to make sure that that force card is now the first face down card we come across. So the first face down card that we come across is not going to be where the spectator called stop. Is actually going to be our force card. So let me go over that one more time here. Remember, we have our force card that's face up, second from the top. We're going to pull it down. Then we're going to use our middle finger to just pull down on cards until the spectator calls stop. Let's say they happen to call stop over here. We're going to take all the cards and turn them face up on top of the actual deck itself. And here we're going to make sure that we have a little bit of a tight spread, because you don't want to have a loose spread and accidentally show the fact that you have a face up card. So you want to have a very tight spread where you're spreading the cards one by one to make sure that the first face down card stays face down and doesn't accidentally split and show the actual card underneath. So at this point, we're going to turn to the spectators this way. We're going to spread the card and have them remember that card in the deck. So in this case, they're remembering our force card, the Jack of Clubs. The reason we're doing this, obviously, is to hide this card. If we just did this and say, take the card, that's not going to work. So we got to risk kill by moving our hands towards our body like this, use our thumb to push off the card and show it to the spectator. Now, at this point, you do have a couple options. One of my favorite controls is known as the oops control, which I'm going to show you right now, and it makes use of a face-up card. So in this case, we show the card to the spectator. At this point, we could take all these cards, turn it face down on top, and now we could put the deck down. We could even have the spectator cut the deck. It doesn't really matter because we're going to employ the use of the oops control. So in spreading the deck and telling the spectator about their fair selection or whatever is in regards to the trick, you're going to notice that there's a face-up card on top of the deck. Now, the card directly above this card is going to be the spectator's card. So now it's very easy to say, oh, whoops, turn that card face down. And now you have a break underneath the spectator's card. If you want to have a break above the spectator's card, it's very, very simple as well. All you need to do is just turn this card face down. Take this top card as you take the rest of the deck and spread just to verify to yourself that there aren't any more face-up cards. That's the internal monologue you have here. So in action, the oops control just looks a little bit like this. We're going to spread through the deck. We're going to notice that the card is face up. We're going to turn it face down. And if you want at this point, you could take these cards and bring it to the bottom, or you could just simply retain the break below. However you choose to control this card is going to be up to you. But what it does is that this card happens to mark the location of the actual card itself. So that's a nice little key card trick. Now, there is another way to control the card, but it's a little bit more contrived. I'm just going to include it here for the sake of explanation. Remember, this pile of cards is going to be face up. You're now spread to the actual card itself. So in this case, you're showing the spectator this card. You've done the appropriate risk kill. Now, at this point, remember, you have a face up card underneath over there. So you could easily take this card and turn it face up on top of that card as you show the card to the spectator. And now you have a double. So you have a double that you could do whatever it is that you want with it. You could take the double, you could turn it face down, you could put it in the middle of this pile, put that in the middle of that pile, and that card is now controlled to the top of the deck. So let's go over that one more time here just for the sake of explanation. Remember, you have the spectator's force card. You're going to pull down. You're going to run through and have the spectator call stop anytime they want. Let's say they happen to call stop over here. You're going to turn all these cards face up on top of the deck. Spread through to the first face down card you see. So in this case, it's going to be this one. Then we're going to take the card. We're going to turn it face up to ourselves and make sure that we time it so that when we show the card and bring our wrist down, we're not doing it prematurely to show accidentally the card underneath it. At this point, you could turn this packet face down and you could then lift up with your thumb to establish a double on a natural break. Turn this card face down. We're going to insert this card in the middle of this pile, insert this pile in the middle of this pile, and we have now effectively controlled their card to the top of the deck. However, the idea is that their card is still this card, which apparently is being in-jogged, very fairly inserted into the deck. But I think we know a little bit better than that. So that's an effective control and a force of a single card. Now, again, that's just an optional handling. I prefer the oops control just because of its simplicity and because of its subtlety, and also because of its lack of effort on your end. So there you have this pull down force and how to use the oops control and also its own little integrated control in order to effectively force and control a card. Thank you guys for being members of the Pigcake Card Academy, and I hope to see you on the next lesson.